Can you believe this big, fat 8-mana legend is the new face of Stax commanders in cEDH? Kamahl Heart of Krosa is a 5/5 partner commander with an interesting triggered ability. At the beginning of combat on your turn, creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. You can tap 2 to turn a land into a 1/1 elemental creature with vigilance, indestructible, and haste until end of turn. So why is Kamahl viable in a format that seeks to end the game on turn 2? Well, stay a while and listen. Let's first talk about Stax in cEDH. And before I continue, I just want to preface that this is my opinion on Stax, and I'm not an expert Stax player like Michael Levine, so take it with grains of salt and stuff. The best utilization of Stax are in decks that can be proactive with their game plans. What does this mean? This means having a win condition or card advantage engine in your command zone that you can rely on, and letting Stax be a supporting strategy to disrupt your opponents long enough for you to achieve your win. To illustrate what I'm talking about, I'll bring up my own preference for Stax decks. I think Godo is one of the best Stax decks around. Godo plays Trinisphere, Chalice of the Void, Blood Moon, Karn, and Possibility Storm to throw off other decks' tempo. Or disrupt their game plans long enough for Godo to execute a very reliable and easy combo of Helm of the Host and Godo. Bloodpod is a great Stax deck because while your opponents are disrupted by the deck's Collector Oof, Deafening Silence, and more, you can leverage the time you generate with the Stax to gain a card advantage through Tymna. Tymna also generates saplings for you to leverage later as a resource. Heliod is another famous example of a well-performing Stax deck. It utilizes almost everything available in the color to disrupt your opponents, while your commander is an A+B with 2 creatures in the deck that the deck can find pretty easily. Also, it has a pretty good mid-range plan, where Heliod can pump your attackers and give them lifelink. So just like Godo and Tymna, Stax is giving Heliod plan to time and execute a reliable and easy win. The main point here is that these Stax decks are playing to win, not to survive. Now, is there an example of a Stax deck that isn't proactive? A classic Stax deck we all know and love is Grand Arbiter Augustin 4. Grand Arbiter himself does an excellent job applying attacks to disrupt your opponents, giving you a reliable Stax strategy from the command zone. However, the commander himself does not provide you any additional benefits from the time you generate from the Stax effects. He's not a win con, and he doesn't give you more resources. Unlike Godo or Heliod, who have very clear game plans, Grand Arbiter needs additional means to draw into their combo while trying to maintain the lock on the table. However, when we think of a Stax deck, our minds would think of Grand Arbiter, Derevi, or Urza before considering Godo. Stax traditionally is associated with a complete lockdown of the board, like synergizing Derevi and Sakashima with Winter Orb, and beating the pod through slow beats. When we think of Stax, combo isn't the first thing we associate with it. However, given how fast the meta has evolved since the early days where Derevi and Zur reigned supreme, Stax needed to adapt. Instead of relying on creature beats, Stax needed efficient combos just like the rest of the meta that can be executed under a disrupted board state. Now, how does this all relate to Kamahl? Despite costing 8 mana, Kamahl is a win con in the command zone that turns your Hatebears into threats. Kamahl fits both the need for a proactive game plan within a Stax deck and supports the playstyle of what we assume to be a Stax deck. Now, what does a Kamahl Stax deck look like? I have 4 different options for us to see. The earliest exploration of Kamahl beats as a Stax deck came in the form of Krosan Wrath by Bad Dog. This interesting Akroma Kamahl pairing solves a classic problem within the Celestia color pair in cEDH, where the color pair lacks an efficient win con. Instead of playing a Stax deck that needed to also assemble a combo, Krosan Wrath instead focuses on using the commander pair to turn your Hatebears into your win con. Adding black is an obvious pairing with Tymna and Krosan Rules by Sinivi. This Absent Hatebears deck plays the best Stax creatures from both white and green, including creatures like Archon of Veiler's Reach, and Yasharn with access to Fiend Artisan from the addition of black to find appropriate silver bullets for a board. The benefit of this pairing is of course found in the best partner pairing, that is Tymna, allowing you to draw cards under a board filled with your Hatebears, and once you've played sufficient Hatebears to disrupt the board, you play Kamahl to turn them into threatening beats. Imagine your Tymna hitting for 5, or an Archon of Emeria being pumped for 5 damage in the air. Exchanging black for blue is Bird Go Pew with Ishai by Avaloon. We can see a shift in what the deck offers in terms of creatures and the overall game plan. If you have played against an Ishai deck before, you will know how quickly Ishai becomes a real threat with all the spells being cast each turn, especially when paired with Jessica. Here, Ishai is a beater that you can drop earlier in the game with the benefit of being pumped later by Kamahl. Ishai's blue gives you access to Kinnan to help you ramp faster into a Kamahl, Koma as another real threat that can also disrupt your opponents, Lavinia as a secondary win-con of knowledge pool lock, and Gilded Drake, and of course the best Stax creature in the game, Hole Breacher. In the last pairing, we exchanged blue for the coveted access to red from Bruse Tarl, in Brute Force by Coco. Most notably, red gives you access to Dox Extortionist for an earlier Kamahl, Flamescroll Celebrant as a second silence effect, and Possibility Storm. Bruse Tarl helps you close a game faster by giving you a creature double strike, so if Kamahl's triggered ability, that's an additional 6 damage total from both your commanders with one creature. So that is Kamahl, the latest in cEDH Stax commanders. What I appreciate about Kamahl is that he brings a resurgence or interest in using creature beats as a win-con in Stax. I'm interested to see how this archetype will grow with new sets and potentially new commanders, and until then, see you all next time. Bye.